can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me run. It's gonna be a bright sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright sunshiny day.
Jimmy Cliff, I can see clearly now. That was a nice clean cut there. Anyway, Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. No, I am for sure. Gonna be going out with a song I'd never actually heard before today, but it was I don't know, it was oddly interesting, kind of peppy and poppy. So for those of you that don't like that, sorry. How can you tell you're in sync with life? This is kind of it's sort of one of those deeper ones, but at the same time, it gives us a really good indication when we're trying to manifest situations with, you know, our significant person, for example. Maybe we're trying to manifest a job. Maybe we're trying to manifest some sort of change in our life in some sort of way, shape, or form. And wondering, you know, how can I gauge where I'm at on a day-to-day basis? You know, because sometimes maybe we don't feel exactly our moods, right? We don't catch ourselves when we get kind of grumpy and then just kind of move along with our day. We don't see those little mini interactions. They're almost happening too quickly. Maybe we're just so ingrained in what we're doing, right? We can't necessarily pay attention. So here's another really fun little way to kind of base off of what the universe is presenting to you. I liked it too from the standpoint of when it's universe showing it to us, like it's really hard to question it. Like I know people can say, well, you're creating it because you're thinking about it. All right, sure, I get all that. But at the same time, it's still a lot of timing issues have to work out perfectly for that to play out. So again, it still demonstrates to me a rather phenomenal set of intelligence that seems to exist within the universe. So being in sync with is not the same thing in my mind as time or timing. I want to say no matter what, and this is hard for a lot of people, and this is a different topic we can maybe get into someday, but timing, like the showing up at the right place at the right time, those kinds of things. Timing and how long something takes is really more a factor of growth, is a factor of where we're going with our life, what we're trying to manifest, what needs to happen for that to occur. Very different concept than what I mean by being in sync. Now, they will overlap from time to time, but they are different concepts. So timing is just the way things are working out. Timing does fall into it being in sync, definitely, but how long things take, I don't really think whether you're in sync or not, I don't think necessarily bodes or would indicate that it's going to happen sooner per se. But what I do think it means is that things are in progress in a very good, healthy, like quick pace. Like you're cruising along at a great pace. So whether it's a month out, whether it's 6 months out, you know, you're moving along as quickly as you probably can right now. I'd say it's probably fair assessment. So some of the things that will indicate that you're in sync with the world, and it's funny how it'll play out. So I'll give a couple strange little scenarios that have happened to me before, certainly, but are the kinds of things that can happen to really set the way, set your path in motion, if you will. So for an example, like things are going really good, having a great day, life is starting off great, and I'm about to, you know, start my day off, head down to the coffee shop, and then off to work and all that stuff, right? So what'll happen sometimes is, you know, I'll head down and get to the garage, you know, start up the car, kind of start backing it out, and then be like, ah, crap, it's friggin' Wednesday. Wednesday's trash day. Shoot. So pull it back in, turn the car off, run upstairs, grab the trash, throw it out, push the trash out, all that good stuff. All right, cool. Hop in my car, get going. Well, on the way, every single light's green, practically, right? Like right when I pull out of my complex, the light that's, because I'm turning onto a major road, it's almost always red. Like it's like, you know, knock on wood. I bless, release, and erase that. But, you know, it's frequently green for me. But again, it's one of those things where it's pretty cool when it is green. So boom, off on that. And then every light's green. Everything on the way just shows up well. Like it's just interesting how the timing works out. You're pulling up to things that are turning green, like you're the only one, but you haven't even gotten to the place where you could signal the traffic signal, yet it's turning green for you. Like It's one of those things where it's just like, wow, like everything is lighting up. Everything is opening up before me. When these kinds of moments happen, when this is occurring in your life, rejoice, be happy. It's a great indication that you're right on track. You're totally moving in the direction you should be. Everything is on track. You're doing all the stuff you need to be doing. Your vibration's perfect right now, right? You're thinking and saying and doing all the things you need to. Boom, you're on it. Be happy, rejoice. Here's a great indication that you are right on track. Does that mean I'm going to get my thing tomorrow? No, probably not. Well, it has to do with it in that the more we can keep ourselves in this good, happy, in the vortex, as Abraham Hicks calls it, right? The more we can keep ourselves going through that great energy, the more we get to experience that level of non-questioning and right all the little things that we can do when we get in our own way and we start pulling up on that handbrake and slowing ourselves down. So this is kind of one of those places where the universe is like, no, you're cool, you're fine. Just enjoy where you're at. Things tend to fall into place. You get doors just open before you. You're like, I'm really interested in a new job. And then tomorrow you show up at work and they're talking about this new position. And they're like, yeah, you'd probably be a good fit. Would you be interested? And you're like, what? So it's those things where when you're really in sync and you start to realize that, oh, wow, I just literally said that. And then literally the next day, boom, this happened. And a lot of times it can be like, well, I just thought it, so I manifested it. I think there's another side to it too, because yes, what we think, say, and do certainly does create manifestations, but when it happens super fast, I think a lot of the times it's more of an issue of we're kind of picking up on what's about to come. It's actually a little bit of a psychic thing, believe it or not. Now, if it's easier to believe that you manifested something in a ridiculously short period of time when normally it takes you, days to manifest things, all right, I don't care. It's fine. But a lot of times when it's really close to the event and you're saying something interesting and then boom, it happens, oftentimes you're picking up on what's going on, which, again, by the way, is another wonderful sign of awakening. What about one of those times where, you think of the person and they instantly send through the text message? Like you're like, I wonder about so-and-so. And then you're like, bling, right? And you're like, oh, no way, that's them. Or the times where you send the text message and you're like, I'm just sending it out, don't really care. And boom, hit send. And like a second, it's like, oh, it pops right, bling, pops back up. And you're like, oh, it was received well. Now all of a sudden a conversation started. Everything's hunky-dory. Everything's awesome. Wonderful conversation. Great things being said. Like, oh, wow. Like I haven't heard this in a long time. That's all I wanted to hear. Oh my God, thank you. Like it was just perfect. Again, everything seems to just, your actions tend to be more inspired in general. Again, you're just flowing through that pipeline. Now, I know some of you are going to be like, well, how do I feel like that? We've talked about that in numerous shows, and I'll do numerous other shows. What I'm trying to help, though, is to get you to sort of look at what is happening in your life and being able to assess almost from the first couple traffic signals what kind of day it's going to be. And to the converse, if every light's red, if everything is going, that implies that there's a little bit of frustration going on maybe in your world. There's a little bit of fighting. There's a little bit of resistance. There's a little bit of not going with the flow. So if you're noticing that things aren't going well, look at what's going on internally within you, because that indicates kind of the opposite of everything going well. It indicates that there are some problem areas. There are some places that we need to sort of turn around our feelings, turn around our thoughts, turn around what it is that's possibly holding us back, maybe making a difference in that regard. And then we will start to notice that, oh my God, that traffic signal was green right when I pulled out of my complex. Or the gate was already open when I was leaving, right? Like I just pulled up and someone just happened to open the gate. Or even one of those weird ones where this happened from time to time, where it's almost magical. And like, I think here's a great example. Crosswalks. There's a theory, and it's so hard to prove, and I definitely can't prove it. A lot of people can be like, oh, I know this for a fact. All right, I'm sure you do. There's a theory, and it's probably true, that if you hit the walk signal a bunch of times, that it actually will cause it to, for like multiple cycles, like trigger that little walking thing, right? Little white hand or green hand or whatever, however it is in your city. So there's been times where I've ended up at the intersection, and good, bad versions of this. The bad one, like literally I'm driving down and boom, light's turning yellow. There's no way I can punch through it. It's early in the morning. Like, there's no reason why, right? It's one of those things where it's like, all right. And then it turns red, and you're like, okay. And then on top of that, oh, it's a walk signal. So I got to wait like 26 seconds or something crazy for that to go all the way through the cycle to give someone adequate time to walk, even though there's nobody there, not a person in the world, nobody walking across the street at all, but blinky, blinky, blinky hand goes in the little crosswalk. Oh my God, it kills you, right? And you're waiting for the cycle. So that's one of those examples where Dan goes, what's going on inside your little mind there, big guy? Where are you fighting the process? Where are you kind of resisting what's going on? So I'll look at kind of things, what's going on? What am I fighting? It's like, oh, yeah, maybe I've been a little grumpy at so-and-so, or I've been thinking about this thing a lot, and that's not really a good thing to think about, whatever it is. And I try to get myself back on focus. Now, the other way around that is, literally, you're going down the street, and, you know, the light's red and you're way up here, but as you're getting closer and closer and you haven't even taken your foot off the accelerator, it changes perfectly green and you just keep on cruising, right? Keep on cruising through. Like it changed for you. Again, that's the other side of it. You're like, all right, what am I doing right now? So kind of things to hopefully help gauge your world to what's going on inside of yourself. Now, I know for those that are like, well, that's just coincidence. All right, well, okay, sure, call it coincidence. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But once you've seen these coincidences happen enough, and then you're like, I wonder if there's more to it, then watch this video again, and I'll be like, that's all I'm saying. I'll let you come to your own conclusions. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm just throwing out some ideas. Check this out. Let's see what happens. Assess it. Make your own understanding of it, because that's really what this is all about. Your own understanding of your life process, of your path, of what's going on in your world, because it's got to make sense to you, and you've got to be able to handle the skeptics and the skeptic within yourself, right? All these things. Beautiful stuff, how it all plays out. I love it. And again, you're like, yeah, I talked about all that, so we're good. Going out with a great song by this lady, Becky G. It's called Shower. Anyway, it's right here on Dan Radio Style.
You light me up.